I first saw Prabhupada in the summer of 1966. My roommate, which was Howard Wheeler, Hayagriva, later, was walking on 2nd Avenue, or walking to 2nd Avenue, and he ran into Prabhupada on the street around Bowery. And Hayagriva recognized his pointed shoes and so forth and the dress as like a holy man. And he spoke to him. He says, "Oh, are you a holy man? Or are you from actually he said, "Are you from India?" And Prabhupada said, "Yes. Are you from India?" And Howard said, "No, but I just came back. My roommate and I, we took a trip to India." And then Prabhupada told him that he was holding classes on 2nd Avenue, 26 2nd Avenue, and invited him to come and bring his friends. So Hayagriva came back and told me, and we decided to go and check it out. So that next Wednesday or Friday night, whatever it was, we went to the 26th 2nd Avenue storefront, and that's the first place I saw Prabhupada. He came through that door and sat down. I was going to say on the raised platform, but there was no raised platform at that stage. He just sat down on the floor. I was initiated along with Brahmananda, one or two others, on Radhastami. It was not the first initiation, it was the second initiation. The first initiation was on Janmashtami, and I was not there because I was locked up in Bellevue. I was trying to do something for Prabhupada by getting him some income. I told him, well, a lot of my friends are collecting money from welfare. They just tell them they're not able to work. They're mentally having difficulty. So I went up to Bellevue. The difference was I didn't look exactly like a hippie. I had a shaved head, a sika, and wore a dhoti, and they took one look at me at Bellevue and they said, "Oh, just sign here." They locked me up. Prabhupada, I used to talk to Prabhupada on the phone every day, and once he said, "I'm simply crying to Krishna, how have I lost this boy?" Prabhupada was so loving. But at any rate, by the grace of Allen Ginsberg, we got out. And actually, that's not true either. Allen Ginsberg sent us another psychiatrist, a big known psychiatrist. He said there was nothing wrong with me, that I was simply practicing Vaishnavism, religious sect of India. But that the doctors at Bellevue wouldn't accept that. So I said, what do I have to do to get out of here? They said, well, best chance of getting out of here is get your family to sign you out. So I called up my family and I said, look, I've seen the light. I want to be a Christian. Just get me out of here. So they came and signed me out. And at the first light, I jumped out of the car. Ran back to Prabhupada.
How did he greet you when you...
Oh, he got up and put his arms around me, and he was very affectionate. When I met Prabhupada in Calcutta, Prabhupada, first thing he asked me was to drive for him. Now, I had been to India with Hayagriva, as I said before, in '65 for just a short time, or 3 months or something. And Hayagriva and I used to sit up on the roof and look down at all the cars and laugh and say, well, there's one thing I'd never do, is drive in India. It was like the height of a circus. It was not for a Westerner. And the first thing Prabhupada said when I got there was, I'd like you to drive for me. All right, Prabhupada, whatever you want. And what did he want me to drive? A great big old Chrysler. About 25 feet long or something. So anyway, I was driving him around Calcutta in this old Chrysler. And he told me, go down this way. So we went down this way, and I noticed that all the cars were going the other direction. I said, Prabhupada, I think this is a one-way. I said, it's all right. We kept going, and at the end of the street was a policeman. The policeman said, stop. Held up his hand. And then when the policeman came over and saw Prabhupada, he said, oh, I'm sorry. Gave him right away. He first got deities in New York. A small set of deities came in spring of '67, I think it was. Prabhupada gave some simple instructions, and Brahmananda or some of the devotees were complaining, oh, Prabhupada, so many instructions. Prabhupada says, I am not telling you anything. He said, if I told you all the instructions that there are, you would faint. But there was a sign along the road that said, detour, temporary inconvenience, permanent improvement. Prabhupada laughed and said, all we ever see is the temporary inconvenience. There is no permanent improvement in this world. What made the greatest impression on me was his ability to turn everything into Krishna consciousness. No matter what you spoke about, he could relate it to Krishna. No matter where he was or what he was doing, it was always in connection with Krishna. And it was a practical demonstration of Bhagavad Gita. Always think of me. What all that you do as a sacrifice for me. And that made me realize his uniqueness. One kind of humorous story in relationship to that was about a year later when I accompanied him to India. He asked me to wear my gray flannel suit. Now, this was not just a gray flannel suit, it was an almost black gray flannel suit, heavy gray flannel suit. And we went to India in July. When I got off the airplane in Delhi, it was like being hit by a ton of bricks. The air was so heavy, hot. And here I was in a gray flannel suit. And not only did he have me wear it on the airplane, but there in India, when any time we went to visit an ashram or his godbrother or something, he would say, wear your suit. I mean, he had no consideration that this would be very uncomfortable. It was simply that it was advantageous for Krishna. And he's right in that way. We should overlook bodily comfort and discomfort in order to serve Krishna. That is our only criteria for anything. How does it serve Krishna? Yes, I got a danda, of course, and Prabhupada said, you are now Tridandi Goswami, Kirtananda Swami. And Tridandi, we are Tridandi sannyasis. And that means three. But I said, Prabhupada, there are four. There are four rods in here. What's the fourth one? Prabhupada scratched his head and said, I'll have to consult higher authority. So in a day or so he came back and said, the three stand for body, mind, and soul. And the fourth is jiva. We add an extra for jiva because jiva is always distinct. We never merge. So he was always fighting the Mayavads. Well, of course, the greatest example of his compassion was that he left Vrindavan in his old age to come to the hell of New York just to bring us Krishna consciousness. That's compassion.